It's Saturday, August 24, 2019, and this is Globespan 24/7 Week in Review. My name is Samuel Suknandan. We'll take a look at some of the major stories for the week, beginning Monday, August 19 through Friday, August 23, 2019. A Berbice man was on Monday pronounced dead on arrival at the Fort Wellington Hospital after he lost control of his motorbike on the number 42 Village Public Road on the west coast of Berbice. Shakima Day filed this report.
24-year-old Lachman Hansrach, a graphic designer of Lot 116 Bath Settlement on the west coast of Berbice, was returning home from a horse racing activity on Sunday evening when he lost control of his motorbike CJ 5154 and met his demise. Reports indicate that the young man was proceeding at a fast rate when he lost control and crashed into a pedestrian before falling on the roadway. According to the young man's cousin, Bridge Paul Hansrach, they received word of the accident and rushed to the Fort Wellington Hospital, where they were informed that he passed.
From the information that we have from the police, is that he fell with the bike, and the bike stayed away about 150 feet away from him, and the bike hit into a car, and he suffered a head injury, and the police take him to the hospital with somebody else, and when they come to his brother and brother reached the hospital, he was already dead.
When was the last time you saw him and he told you he was going? And
he was going to the Harshaways about 1 p.m. yesterday.
1 p.m.
Police right by the Harshaways area, they come with our next African fella. They pick him up and bring him to Fort Wellington Hospital.
Hansrach was described as a talented but quiet person who worked hard to care for his family.
The quiet spoken person, he doesn't really talk much. Just go to the company, friends and lime and just drink one beer and everything.
The pedestrian was rushed to the hospital where she was treated for minor injuries and discharged. Reporting for Globespan 24/7 News, Shakima Day.
Despite the ongoing dispute over the oil contract signed between Guyana and UK-based oil company Tullow, which just last week made a huge discovery, British High Commissioner to Guyana Greg Quinn is of the opinion that the discovery is good for Guyana. More in this report.
Contract terms are for Tullow and the government to sort out, and I'm not going to get into that discussion. It's a commercial contract. It's not a contract that I've been involved in. Have you seen how thick it is? I certainly haven't read it.
That was British High Commissioner to Guyana Greg Quinn addressing the media this morning. The British diplomat stayed clear from commenting on the terms of the contract between government and the oil company.
I think from my point of view, the Tullow find last week is good for Guyana for two simple reasons. One, it demonstrates that there is oil outside of the Exxon block, so this isn't just about Starbrook, it's far bigger than that. And secondly, it brings in a whole new set of companies, a whole new set of countries, and a whole new set of operators. And the more operators and countries and companies you have involved in the oil fields, the better.
It has been revealed that the production sharing agreement governing the Oranjuk block that Guyana agreed to collect a 1% royalty. In addition to that, Guyana agreed to have the operators of the block recover the paid royalty. Following its discovery of oil, Tullow Oil announced that it will shift operations from its Trinidad base to local shores. Shares in Tullow Oil jumped 17% after it made what analysts described as a potentially transformational discovery in Guyana that could yield more than 100 million barrels of oil. Tullow will shortly drill a second well in the same area in Guyana as the Death Row well, the results of which are expected towards the end of next month. It is also planning for the exploration work. For Globespan 24/7 News, I'm Samuel Suknandan. Opposition leader Barrett Jagdi is questioning the government's commitment to public servants, particularly teachers, after Finance Minister Winston Jordan said public servants can look forward to their yearly salary increase. This comes on the heels of Jordan committing to increases in wages for 2019 and 2020 for public servants. Kipney Jordan filed this report on Monday.
The finance minister said there are two high-level committees currently in talks with the two main unions about salary increases for public servants.
But let's say you don't want me to do that because we're in discussions with the unions at the moment. And you know my head will be chewed off immediately if I were to go down that road. So, no, I'm not working on anything. I'm not even part of the negotiations. There are two high-level committees that are engaging the two main unions, and we trust that they will be able to advance the negotiations to such a stage that we're ready to make a payout.
Jordan further stated that public servants can expect a big increase in 2019 and an even bigger one in 2020. Opposition leader Bahar Jagdeo, however, claims that the government has a poor track record in wage increases and workers' benefits. Meanwhile, at a recent press conference, Jordan noted that the coalition government has implemented a 62% increase in public servant salaries in 3.5 years, the same amount that took the opposition 9 years to achieve. For Globespan 24/7 News, I am Kippany Jordan.
The Berbice region is expected to benefit soon from the construction of a new mortuary at the tune of $70 million by year end. The new and improved facility is expected to be housed in the compound of the National Psychiatric Hospital. More from Shakima Day.
Residents of New Amsterdam and nearby communities are expected to benefit from a state-of-the-art morgue facility set to be completed by the end of this year. The new building, which will be housed within the psychiatric hospital compound, is set to cost $70 million and will replace the old facility currently being used at the New Amsterdam Hospital. Director of Health Services in Region 6, Mr. Javon Stevens, told Globespan 24/7 News in an exclusive interview that works are set to begin next week.
Today, members of the public, East Berbice Quarantine, witnessed the turning of the sod for what will be a state-of-the-art mortuary constructed in the compound of the National Psychiatric Hospital. The work is scheduled to start next week, and it is scheduled to complete by the end of 2019. This project is undertaken by the Ministry of Public Health and is to the value of $70 million Guyana dollars. The minister and team visited yesterday, and she said in her comment to the media that she would like to thank the Ministry of Finance for playing a part in ensuring the vision of the Ministry of Public Health is realized here in East Berbice Quarantine.
According to the director, this is the first facility of its kind to be built in Guyana and will serve as a model for other regions.
The mortuary will have in it a small chapel, so persons can even have a little service right in the building before removing their bodies. And also it will be built taking into consideration infectious control. So we have a separate part at the back for when you're doing PMEs on persons that would have been suspect of having various diseases, so that there's no possibility of even having the staff exposed to contamination.
Stevens noted that this facility will be a positive addition to the region, mainly because of its location. The old facility is currently being housed in close proximity to the hospital's kitchen and one of the main entrances to the hospital. The problematic facility has been highlighted in the media in previous months, with reports made about it being malfunctioned, causing bodies to become decomposed. Reporting for Globespan 24/7 News, Shakima Day.
Government remains committed to ensure that all businesses and organizations, both in the private and public sector in Ghana, operate in accordance with the stipulated labor laws which govern the nation. As such, several employees are now before the court for breaching these laws. Here's more. Social Protection Minister Amna Ali says that her ministry has come across many organizations and companies breaching local labor laws.
They deduct NIS subscriptions from contributions from workers, and they do not pay it in to the NIS, and so you find that there is a multitude of problems at the level of the NIS for them to receive benefits when the time arises for them to receive benefits. And so, you know, with the NIS you have to make a certain amount of contributions. Now, if the employer does not remit deductions from the workers, it means that it will show that the workers have not been paying their contributions and they suffer.
Ali, who appeared in a recent state interview, said her government is trying to reverse this unethical practice because it cannot continue to happen.
At the moment, we have about 50 something of those employers in court for various offenses, and that being a major one. We are seeking to ensure that in all respects they comply with the law.
She said her office has been working to initiate the legal requirements of various agencies regarding the employment conditions of staff. According to her, a recent complaint was made to her ministry regarding a particular security agency underpaying its workers.
Delved into it, we have investigated, we have found that this is true, and we are going to take action because we cannot allow the workers out there to suffer at the hands of these people. And so the first thing we are going to look at, we are going to take the agency to court. And outside of that, there may be a possibility of withdrawing the company's license.
For Globespan 24/7 News, I'm Samuel Suknandan. The Guyana Civil Aviation Authority is currently investigating an incident which occurred at the Chadijagan International Airport involving an American airline aircraft. We find out more in this report from Wednesday. The tires of an American Airlines aircraft, which was destined for Miami late Tuesday night, were damaged while preparing for takeoff. Globespan 24/7 News understands that the aircraft reportedly struck the circuit box for runway lights and suffered a blowout. It has been reported that the pilot may have moved too close to the edge of the runway, colliding with the equipment. 3 of the aircraft's tires were damaged in the process. This newscast was told that passengers reported that there was also poor visibility caused by heavy fog at the time of departure. As a result of the incident, the aircraft was later parked on another runway while passengers were taken back to the terminal by bus. Contacted for a comment, GCAA Director General Lieutenant Colonel retired Egbert Fields told this newscast that a team was dispatched to the airport and are investigating the matter.
My people are out in the field commencing an investigation into that. So I really can't comment further until, but we've launched an investigation.
This is not the first time that an American airline aircraft has encountered problems at the Chadijagan International Airport. In fact, an American Airlines flight 2 weeks ago was forced to divert from originally landing at CGIA going all the way to Trinidad to land. According to reports, CGIA's lighting system for its runway experienced a failure, forcing the airport to deploy temporary lights. Mere days after, the airline had to abort its transit after encountering technical difficulties in mid-air. The flight left CGIA on Friday, August 9 at about midnight on its way to Miami. However, the flight experienced a drop in cabin pressure, leaving passengers severely affected. For Globespan 24/7 News, I'm Samuel Suknandan. The government is exploring the idea of paying old age pensions through various banks as a way of bringing some ease to the process and creating better access to senior citizens. The details in this report. As part of these plans, the government, through the Social Protection Ministry, has engaged the Bankers Association for pensions to be paid directly to the seniors' accounts.
I trust that by 2020 we are going to have we're going to have some ease with regards to pension payments.
The minister said it could not have been done this year, nor for the existing pensioners also, because certain systems would have to be put in place first.
And we are beginning to distribute pension books early November. Now, I can't give you a pension book and at the same time work out dealing with the banking transaction, because you might double up and we might have problems.
As such, the ministry plans to start a new initiative with new pensioners beginning 2020. However, in the meantime, the ministry will be working with pensioners who have existing bank accounts to put them on the system.
Again, will ease the business of going to every person and paying them and having long lines, etc., at the post offices to pay pensions.
Aside from that, Ali said that an investigation will be launched soon into matters reported to her ministry regarding senior citizens being told to return for monies on pension day. It disclosed that this should no longer be an issue as measures are in place to have this addressed. For Globespan 24/7 News, I'm Samuel Suknandan. The opposition People's Progressive Party Civic, PPPC, remains firm on its position that it does not support the current house-to-house registration process. As such, the party is now making calls for GECOM to go to claims and objections, as they believe once this process is embarked upon, elections could be held in October of this year. More from this report on Thursday.
So we believe if the GECOM goes immediately to claims and objection period, to allow those who, the few thousand who new registrants of this 270,000, maybe 2,000-3,000 of them would first-time registrants to register, plus the others who would not registered around the country. And you move immediately to that, and then you can achieve. I've seen the timeline. You can achieve if you do that now. Like say they start on Monday with the claims and objection, you could easily, or even by Wednesday if they have time, they need to prepare. You can achieve end October.
That was Opposition Leader and General Secretary of the PPPC, Barrett Jagdio, addressing the media. Jagdio feels that GECOM should move to the claims and objections period now. He said this will ensure that there is a national register and will allow for the eventual extraction of names to create a new voters list. The former head of state reiterated his party's position on the house-to-house registration exercise.
Activity should have been brought to halt immediately, because that is what they set out to do, to re-register everybody and create a new list. And you cannot do that now. They should have stopped it. But they keep persisting and argue now that, oh, we've already done 270,000 people register there. So if you register of the 270,000, 265,000 were registered before. It's a total waste of time.
In the meantime, President David Granger has said repeatedly that he cannot name a date for elections unless GECOM so advises him on a time frame. Yesterday, all 6 GECOM commissioners met with GECOM Chair Claudette Singh. During that meeting, the written judgment on the house-to-house registration exercise was discussed. So far, all of the commissioners, those appointed by government, and the opposition seems tight-lipped about the outcome of that meeting. And Jagdio is not willing to say what was discussed either, based on the information that he was given by those commissioners appointed by his party.
I don't think they really had an opportunity. I don't want to talk about what took place at the meeting because I think all the parties, they did not hear in the discussion.
The commission will meet again tomorrow. For Globespan 24/7 News, I'm Samuel Suknandan. A joint memorandum of understanding will be signed on August 30 between the Natural Resources Ministry and the Pesticides Control Board, along with the Environmental Protection Agency and the Ghana Geology and Mines Commission regarding the importation of mercury. Kipani Jordan has that story.
Natural Resources Minister Raphael Trotman said mercury importation now has stricter measures as the country is moving to use less mercury in its mining operations.
How is it going to affect is that they only in a positive way. We've been seeing requests for importation, and I often say that last year I refused to give permission for 30,000 kilograms of mercury to be imported from Mexico. I wondered what would one want with 30,000 kilograms of mercury. That's one importer. There are multiple importers. We have some reason to believe that some of it is moved across borders.
The EPA, GGMC, and Pesticides Control Board will be clamping down on these imports both legally and illegally. Trotman further explained that the ministry will ensure there is a limited amount imported at all times. Miners will now have to give an account for what mercury is used for, who is using it, how it's being disposed, and how much of it is being used. Since the refusal of requests for large amounts of mercury intended to be imported in 2018, many persons have not come forward, but stricter measures have been since implemented, keeping in mind the safety of the environment and its inhabitants.
As you know, His Excellency President Bridger, in 2017, we visited Guyana at the first conference of parties in Switzerland and the Minamata Convention, and we gave strong commitments. Guyana has received kudos for the strides made. We've been, in fact, named to the planning committee for the third conference, which is going to be held this November in Switzerland again. And we have worked out protocols dealing with importation, storage, use, and disposal of mercury.
For Globespan 24/7 News, I am Kippany Jordan.
Data produced in the Ministry of Finance mid-year report for 2019 shows an increase in food prices, which one financial analyst says should be a cause for worry. We find out why in this report. Food prices in Guyana have increased by 8.6% over the past year from June 2018 to June 2019, according to statistics printed in the Ministry of Finance mid-year report for 2019. US-based Guyanese financial analyst Narayan Singh feels this is a serious issue, especially given the fact that the report also points to a 2.7% increase in cost of living in the country.
This raises serious concerns for me as an analyst about the nutritional impact on the poor and the working class in Guyana. Because if the cost of chicken increases, if the cost of valuable nutritional food increases by 8.6%, but people did not get that kind of salary increase in real wages, plus there's other things demanding pieces of their wages, such as transportation costs, electricity costs, all these other costs, then people will have to cut corners on their food intake.
Asked what he thinks might have led to this issue, Singh, a former AFC member, said the main reason for that is because government failed to have an appropriate policy action to deal with the situation.
We can take local policy action on two fronts to help contain expansion in food costs. Now, food production in Guyana is driven by two main inputs. Of course, seedlings is a very important input, but outside of seedling, there's two important inputs that are needed. One is fertilizer, and the second one is gasoline, diesel. All farmers use diesel in a big way. Now, any caring government would have provided some level of subsidy, even if it is for small scale cash crop production, small scale chicken production, targeted sectors that will directly reduce the cost of food that the ordinary man consume the most.
The financial analyst said another way in which the government could have offered some relief is by offering cash rebates, vouchers to mothers and the poor.
So that they can use those funds to buy locally made milk, local meat, local fruits, local vegetables, local rice. So it kind of creates a local economic impetus into the economy. Now, that is one way you could have done this, by dealing with the fertilizer angle. The second way you can deal with it is by reducing the excise tax on diesel, because most farmers use diesel rather than gasoline.
Singh feels that the rising cost of living and prices of food should be a major concern for the government and should not be taken lightly. Although Guyana has recorded an increase in economic growth in the past 6 months, which is heavily due to the oil and gas sector, analysts and economists like Singh feels it is not something to be proud of because figures have shown a decline in the traditional sectors in Guyana. For Globespan 24/7 News, I'm Samuel Suknandon. While all commissioners appointed to the Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, have found consensus that elections must be held at the earliest possible time, no definitive decision has yet been taken on the house-to-house registration process, although the commission has met for the second time this week yesterday.
I hate to disappoint you again this afternoon, but we have not reached any meaningful decisions this afternoon. I can't even say that the discussions were meaningful, and that's as far as I can go.
What are the major sticking points as of now?
Hold on.
I wouldn't.
Long, tiring,
it is clear that the delaying tactics continue, and that has stymied any developments that we could have.
No end is in sight right now.
Yes, but
we meet again on Tuesday.
What did you seek to discuss today?
That is, I prefer not to divulge at this point. You know what my position is on this. There's public. There's nothing new that I need to say. We need to have elections in a timely manner. Exactly. That is the bane of all of my discussions today.
GECOM Commissioner on the opposition side says Gunraj. On the contrary, Commissioner on the government side, Vincent Alexander, said the commissioners are discussing a way forward and the usability of house-to-house registration in a timely manner.
The public is none the wiser. The public needs to know where we are at in terms of something definitive. The extent to which we do not have something definitive, it's like if we only add in yeast to the ferment.
Is there another meeting soon in Houston?
Tuesday. By which time certain proposals are to be submitted.
Like by who?
All commissioners are free to submit proposals in relation to the way forward, in relation to how we respond to the Chief Justice's ruling.
The proposals are specific to the house-to-house registrations?
The proposals are specific to a response to the Chief Justice's ruling, which includes house-to-house registration.
They meet again on August 27. For Globespan 24/7 News, I am Kippany Jordan.
The government of Ghana says it is concerned about the devastating Amazon rainforest fires, and as such, it is monitoring the situation but wants international action to be taken to stop the crisis now. The Amazon rainforest is burning at a record rate. Early this month, Brazil declared a state of emergency over the rising number of fires in the region. So far this year, almost 73,000 fires in the country have been detected by Brazil's Space Research Center, INP. That marks an 83% increase from 2018 and the highest number on record since 2013, according to Reuters. Ghana shares a small portion of the Amazon, but it covers 85% of the country. When asked by Globespan 24/7 News how the government views the issue, Natural Resources Minister Raffle Trotman said government is very concerned.
Well, I think any government, particularly governments within the Amazonian region, should be very concerned because whatever conditions would have led to those fires could occur here. We all should be concerned. We all should extend our support to the government of Brazil to ensure that those fires are brought under control.
Minister Trotman noted that from time to time, forest fires do occur, but the scale of the fires in the Amazon is one of international concern.
I know that both Mr. Singh's Commissioner and Ms. Dow as chair of the board would be monitoring our own forests to ensure that we don't have any similar process. We may not be able to stop fires altogether because, as I said, they are naturally occurring. We are in the throes of heading an extended wet season, so that may affect us somewhat here and there. But we do our own degrees of monitoring. Thankfully, we have good satellite coverage of our forests on our many always, so we'll be able to spot if there's anything that causes us concern.
The Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro has accused environmental groups of setting fires in the Amazon as he tries to deflect growing international criticism of his failure to protect the world's biggest rainforest. But environmental activists said his comments were an absurd attempt to deflect attention from the problem of poor oversight and tacit encouragement of illegal forest clearance. The Amazon rainforest is a major source of oxygen for the world. For Globespan 24/7 News, I'm Samuel Suknandan. To the high influx of Haitian nationals coming to Guyana has been described as hysteria being peddled by sections of the media, as Citizenship Minister Winston Felix maintains that these foreigners have not been found to be involved in trafficking in persons or people smuggling. The details in this report. In addressing the weekly PNCR press conference today, Minister Felix noted that while other foreigners are found to be involved in trafficking in persons here, no law enforcement agencies have found any evidence of Haitians being involved.
That in none of these cases have we found one Haitian, not one, being smuggled. Not one being involved in human trafficking, not as a victim, neither as a perpetrator.
One local newspaper had reported that from January to July, more than 8,600 Haitians arrived in Guyana, but there is little record to show that they left these shores, something that Felix admitted to. Instead, the minister told sections of the media that thousands of Haitians are leaving Guyana at several unofficial crossings to neighboring Brazil. Felix claims that the illegal movement of persons across borders was not new to Guyana. But opposition leader Barra Jagdeo said his party was concerned with the fact that the minister and government at large have brushed aside the issue without trying to find a solution to it. Jagdeo's PPPC has alleged that the government might be involved in these Haitians coming to Guyana and suggested that their names would be included in the ongoing house-to-house registration exercise.
While it is within the remit of those columnists and journalists to raise those issues, the government agencies like the police and the narcotics unit are always on the lookout to detect trafficking in persons or smuggling. We have not detected Haitians, we have detected other nationalities.
Earlier this month, Felix, a former top cop, had confirmed that for the year, more than 8,400 Haitians arrived, but government can only account for a little more than 1,100 leaving. In 2013, 188 Haitians arrived in Guyana with 99 departures, and in 2014, 227 arrived and 113 departed. But in 2015, there were 770 arrivals and only 136 departures. In 2016, 722 arrivals with 451 departures. In 2017, 3,515 arrivals and 291 departures, and in 2018, 1,237 arrivals with only 85 departures. For Globespan 24/7 News, I'm Samuel Suknandan. And that has brought us to the end of today's news. We wish you a safe and productive week ahead. Until next time, my name is Samuel Suknandan, saying goodbye.